Donald Trump wants this election to be about migrant crime, according to him. And so right now they have an example of what he would term in a very racist fashion as migrant crime. He tweeted, "Crooked Joe Biden's border invasion is destroying our country and killing our citizens. The horrible murder should have never happened. The monster who took her life illegally entered our country in 2022 and blah, blah, blah." I don't care, because he is the guy that told them, don't secure the border for a year. It's terrible. It's an invasion. We're being overwhelmed by all of these people, and I want that to continue for the next 9 to 12 months until I get into office and pass, let's keep it real, the same bill, because it was the bill that they wanted to be passed. Before we continue with the story, we depend on members to keep on going. Don't wait. Click join now on YouTube. This is gonna work for him. You've got 7,000 retruths or whatever. Right wingers are probably flooding his comments with racist comments and everything. Meanwhile, he's the guy that killed what you think would secure the border. And I'm just so sick of the hypocrisy, Danielle. What do you think?
I mean, it is. It's sickening and it's frustrating. But again, this is where Democrats need to come out and call out the hypocrisy, right? Like, if the Republicans really care about your safety, right? If they really care about your well-being, then why would they want the border to fall into quote unquote chaos over the next 9 to 12 months in order to stage a win? They want to do a win on your back? Right? They're telling you that this place is so dangerous. By the way, there was also a caravan of right wingers that went down to the border thinking that they were going to find, World War III breaking out over there. And guess what they found? Absolutely friggin' nothing. Right? Nope. And they were shocked. I thought, whatever, you fell for the rope-a-dope, you fell for the lie. But I'll go back to what you said earlier about black and brown folks and the way that about how Fox is able to just get to that side of your brain. This is about racism, right? This is what this is. This is about racism in such a big way, because migrant workers add value to our economy. They will add about $7 trillion, right, to our economy. But that's not the conversation that we're having, right? And also, if we actually really gave a damn, again, how about you tax and penalize the CEOs of the factories and the farms and the places that are actually employing these people and saying, we have jobs, because you're going after the worker, but you're not going after the employer that is exploiting their labor to begin with.
Well, in their defense, I do think that the employer might be rich, which means they're a good person, which means we should really leave them alone, is what I would say, because I'm a right-wing populist and that's how right-wing populism works. But anyway, look, this is what Trump wants the election to be about. And thanks to the media, which is always ready to give Republicans a big assist in election years, it might well be. I mean, sorry, Trump, it's also gonna be about the fact that you're facing 91 indictments, buddy. Sorry, it's also gonna be about the fact that you killed Roe v. Wade. You're not gonna be able to avoid that, but he's getting a little bit of what he wants. According to updated polling, immigration is now considered the most important issue by 28% of the population. That's the first time it's been the most important issue when people are polled since 2019. And here's the thing, Republicans would point to that and say, look, the American people get how bad the situation at the border is, but they're not there. That just means that the media is covering it more. And that doesn't mean that this poll is irrelevant. Yes, okay, now people think it's super important, because that's what the media does in elections. Media's trip over themselves in election years to frame things in the way that the right wants, because that way we're being fair. Okay, we're not biased or anything. Please don't attack us or outlaw us. And so they're doing it on immigration this year. In 2022, they did it on crime, hyping up a crime wave that wasn't actually based in the facts. And they're doing it on migrant crime right now. They take the anecdotal individual cases that are horrific, but they raise them to national stories and they flood front pages and TV shows about them to give people the false impression that those sorts of crimes are more common than they used to be, which is simply not the facts. We already analyzed it on our show, but that's what the media can do to help people like Donald Trump and other Republicans take over. And some people may wonder, well, why would they want that? I mean, the media is all lefties, right? First of all, they're not lefties, they're at best liberals. Nope. But it certainly benefits them when Republicans are in charge, because then the country's in chaos and people pay more attention to the news. And hey, a lot of them are owned by wealthy people who don't necessarily mind another series of a couple $1 trillion of tax cuts. So the media does this for the immediate benefit of seeming to not be biased or whatever. But hey, if it gets Republicans back in office, that's not necessarily that bad for them anyway. And so when you hear that like the majority of Americans now favor the construction of a border wall for the first time ever, sure, that's on Donald Trump and Marjorie Greene and all of them, but it's also on the New York Times and on a lot of other forms of media as well. So it's just so frustrating to see this play out exactly the way it has before, Danielle. Quick final comment from you.
I will just say, you hit the nail like right on the head. I can tell you that I've walked through the hallways of cable news places that I go on air for, and I had heard that, you know what, Donald Trump is not good for the country, but he's good for ratings. And that is at the bottom line of what news outlets and networks care about. They care about the ratings. They care about the clicks, right? It is a business for them. They're not in the business of democracy, because if they were, then they would be telling the American people the truth. Then the headlines would actually match which is going on, which is that there is a man who was convicted of rape who is running for president of the United States, right? Yep. And we're okay with that. And there are no laws barring that. Right? So if they cared about democracy, they would tell the truth, but the truth does not sell. Salaciousness does. And 100%. That's what the Republicans bring.
100%.